All right, today we are taking a deep dive into Southern Methodist University, a major private university right in the heart of Dallas, Texas. We're going to go way beyond the brochure to give you the real, complete picture. So let's get into it. You know, first impressions are everything, and wow, SMU makes a powerful one. The campus, which they call the Hilltop, is always, and I mean always, getting ranked as one of the most beautiful in the entire country. And listen, this isn't just for show. It's all about creating this atmosphere that feels, well, prestigious from the second you set foot on campus. And behind all that beauty, a whole lot of financial power. We're talking about an endowment that's north of $2 billion. That kind of money means SMU has the resources to pour into incredible programs, cutting-edge facilities, and most importantly, into its students. So here's the game plan for today. We'll kick things off with that first impression and then get into the nitty-gritty of admissions. After that, we'll talk about the practical stuff, the cost and what academics and campus life are really like. Then, we're going to do a serious deep dive into campus safety data before we wrap it all up with the final verdict on whether SMU could be the right fit for you. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is SMU at its core? Simply put, it's a private research university that's a huge deal in Dallas. Let's break these numbers down. You're looking at a student body of over 12,000 students. But see that R1 classification at the bottom? That's the key takeaway here. That is the highest possible designation for a research university in the United States. It puts SMU in a very elite club, recognized for its very high research activity. And for you, as a student, that can mean getting the chance to work side by side with top professors on some really groundbreaking stuff. So it's a top-tier school. We've established that. Which leads to the next big question, right? How hard is it to actually get in? Let's take a look at the admissions picture. Getting into SMU is definitely competitive. The acceptance rate is hovering just above 50%, so it's selective. And the students who do get in have some seriously strong academic stats. We're talking an average SAT right in the mid-1300s and an average ACT around a 30. So what does that tell us? It tells us that while it's not impossible to get in, you really need to bring your A game academically to be in the running. All right, let's pivot to a topic that's on everybody's mind, the cost. This is where we have to read the fine print, because figuring out if a university is affordable is about so much more than just that initial sticker price. And this is where our investigation hits a pretty significant roadblock. In the source material we used for this explainer, the total cost of attendance, the all-in price for everything, it's just missing. So next, we looked for the financial aid numbers. What percentage of students get help? What's the average aid package look like? And again, that absolutely critical information isn't available in the report. And finally, what about the average debt students have when they graduate? You guessed it, same story. Now, for anyone thinking about applying, these are not small details. These can be the deciding factors. It means that even though we know SMU has that giant endowment, you are absolutely going to have to do your own homework to figure out what it might actually cost your family. Okay, let's pivot back to the student experience. Putting the money aside for a moment, what is it actually like to study and live on the Hilltop? On the academic side, SMU has some real powerhouses that are known across the country, like the Cox School of Business, the Dedman School of Law, and the Lyles School of Engineering. But what I find really compelling is that even with its top-tier R1 research status, SMU keeps an incredible 11-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. That points to smaller classes and more one-on-one time with your professors, which is a huge, huge win for undergrads. And life outside the lecture hall is very deliberately structured to build community. SMU has this thing called a residential commons system, which is kind of like the house system you'd see at a place like Oxford. Every single student has to live on campus for their first 2 years, and it's all designed to create these really tight-knit communities from day one. So the university clearly puts a ton of effort into the on-campus experience. But what is it really like living there, day in and day out? To get an answer to that, we have to look at the other side of the fine print, and that's the campus safety data. And that brings us to our campus safety deep dive. We're looking directly at the data from SMU's own annual security report. This is information the university is legally required to publish, so it gives us a really unfiltered look at what's actually been reported on and around campus. Okay, this table shows you the raw numbers for 3 key on-campus crime categories over the last 3 years. As you can see, reported rapes on campus have gone up and down. Burglary cases, they more than doubled in the most recent year. But the trend that really jumps out is motor vehicle theft. It leaped from 21 cases up to 36 in just 1 year. That's a pretty big jump. And this chart just kind of puts those property crime numbers into a starker perspective. You can see motor vehicle theft is clearly the biggest issue, with 36 reported cases on campus in a single year. For any student thinking about bringing a car to an urban campus like this, that's a really serious thing to consider. Now, let's switch gears to another important piece of campus safety: hazing. The university's official report gives this very specific federal definition, and it's a broad one. It covers everything from actual physical harm to things that cause psychological injury, all as part of some kind of initiation. And this is where the official zero-tolerance policy meets reality. The source material shows there have been significant issues here, especially in Greek life. We see multiple fraternities have been suspended for hazing. And more recently, the sorority Kappa Alpha Theta was suspended all the way until 2025 for incidents that reportedly put the safety and even the mental health of new members at risk. This isn't just a one-off thing. It points to a documented pattern of hazing issues that the university is having to deal with. Okay, we have seen the glossy brochure and we've gone through the fine print. So let's pull it all together for the final verdict. Is Southern Methodist University the right fit for you? Here's how it shakes out, side by side. In the pros column, you've got a top-tier R1 research university, a stunning campus with tons of school spirit, and that fantastic student-faculty ratio. But on the con side, you have to seriously consider the rise in on-campus property crime, the documented concerns around hazing, and of course, the fact that we just couldn't find that critical data on cost and student debt. So who is the ideal student for SMU? Well, it's someone who is going to thrive in a high-energy, spirited social scene and who really values top-notch academics. But, and this is a big but, they also have to be practical. They have to be willing to do the hard work of digging into the financial aid details and be ready to handle the realities of a big urban campus, which includes being smart about their personal safety and their property. SMU's official motto is Veritas liberabit vos, the truth will set you free. So we'll leave you with this question. Now that you've seen both the brochure and the fine print, does SMU's truth set you free to apply? Thanks so much for watching. If this was helpful, please make sure you subscribe for more deep dives just like this one. And before you head out, check the description for a link to our College Savings Mentor program. It's where we help families save $40,000 or more on college costs.